Welcome to the Journey of an Aesthete podcast, a comprehensive examination of all things aesthetic, the arts, the humanities, and what it means to be human.
Some point we're going to leave D minor and go to F major, and so I guess that's the controlled part. That's the planning. That's the schedule, and some of it will be unscheduled, so it's going to be a little blend. So, what tempo do you want to? I kind of feel I want to get the richness of that bass, so I'm going to play.
Should I grab the bow and play a pedal?
Well, sure. I mean, if you want to do that, yeah. We're going to talk about pizzicato and arco. That's the term, right? Those are the terms.
Pizzicato and arco.
Pizzicato, arco, the two terms. This is the music 101 portion of the Journey of an Aesthete. So yeah, we know that we have a commitment to these chords. So. Well, that's very contemporary. That's not. I don't believe that they played that in 1470. I don't think. I could be wrong, but yeah. 1470 is. That's more. Oh wow. Are we starting? Wow. I didn't know what we were going to do there, but it worked out. Thank you. Thank you. How did you feel about that? Just really.
That's a mysterious thing.
Almost as mysterious as the bass, right?
Yeah.
So how did we know we went to D major? How did that happen? I don't know.
Well, we
It
just
worked
kind
out.
of heard it.
Just kind of heard it. So how would you describe to somebody about what we were doing there? If somebody didn't, somebody said, what is improvisation? Or somebody asked, what is jazz? Or what is it? I mean, that was just music as far as I'm concerned, about labels. But it's a different kind of music than other contexts, right? We had a lot of blaring trumpets and a lot of electricity, electric guitars. What's different about this, if you had to say? Is it the wood and the is it the organic nature of the instruments, or just the talking?
Well, it's kind of a natural thing.
Mhm.
There's a saying. I think Krishnamurti said this. Wherever conscious purpose is found, the true innocence of nature is lost. And so I really took that to heart many years ago, because music's really funny. It's sometimes if you're playing music and you have conscious purpose, it can mess things up, because actually performing is a subconscious thing.
Yeah, it's totally unconscious, I think. I mean,
So we were kind
Yeah.
of, I thought we were kind of unconscious there.
Well, that's good, I think.
We weren't thinking in terms of, okay, we're going to do.
but we did say that. That's funny. We said, well, we did say we're going to do such and such, but then what happened was close.
Yeah,
But yet was something different, wasn't it?
yeah. And with the ear.
Yeah, with the ears. And I guess that's, I think that's what music is. So here's a really interesting question. You've worked a lot in European classical contexts. And so you know that music equally well with what we would call jazz. Is it the same principle, even though you're interpreting a score that's been meticulously planned with phrase markings and articulation, you're playing Beethoven like you did last night, are there some common principles to playing that and playing a Thad Jones tune? Or is it in other words, is there something universal there? You can say, well, this is the same principles I apply, even though it's totally written. I'm sure there's something there, right?
Yeah, and it's really good to be able to develop a feel. Yeah, I mean, jazz and classical, they can kind of feed off of each other in a way.
Mm-hmm.
There is a commonality, I think. In the ear, in our ears, classical music, I guess, is definitely conscious purpose as far as all the notes are there. But beyond that is, feel and all that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what we just did there was about just being committed to the moment and listening to each other and just trying to honor what we're doing and honor that instrument and honor, this piano. And that's actually the thing, If I put too much else in there, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah,
It's enough. It's kind of like, yeah.
I was thinking more in terms of textures.
Yeah, texture,
and
sure.
sound.
Yeah.
With what we just did, as opposed to 4 bars of this and 2 bars of that.
Yeah.
And
Well, let's play some more because it would be interesting to use something very standard,
yeah,
like a rhythm changes Gershwin thing, but totally, at least freer with it. Not totally, so partially free or something, because I guess it would be good just to play the song, right? I got rhythm.
yeah.
And you would play it the way, so what you'd be doing in a rhythm section context, right? Playing your function of the bass, which is what Ray Brown does, or
is like a standard. And then so we play that, and
we'll play a couple choruses, and you'll play the first chorus because of that beautiful instrument, I guess. So and then I'll play a chorus or something, we'll play the head. But I'm not going to do a lot of fancy things with it. It's gonna, this is gonna be very, very Sears and Roebuck, as we would say, Sears and Roebuck.
Sears and Roebuck.
So something like you count off.
Let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2,
So that's a pretty good example of, until the end there, when we got a little more contemporary, you would say, right? We moved on. Yeah, but typically it's...
What do you call that, a tag?
Yeah, that's a turnaround tag.
Turnaround tag.
But we both did it, right? Because it worked.
We sure did.
Even though I threw it at you. We didn't plan that.
We didn't even...
But that's it. But these are devices. So you studied those at Dick Grove, or you just experienced, like you would learn these figures and that you can use them when you improvise, right?
Yeah, you just over time and playing a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I must say that I felt very fortunate playing in the hospitality sector because most of the instrumentation was just guitar, saxophone, and bass.
Oh, interesting.
And we played, all the standards from the 40s, etc., and jazz things. And what's nice about being part of the wallpaper in the hospitality is that you can take certain artistic liberties and experiment and so on and so forth, because you're not at a concert where you have to do everything
that's interesting.
So
you found some freedom in that, is what you were saying. So
yeah.
What would an example of that be? So if we were doing, let's just pick a tune. Like if we're doing, what is this thing called Love? There's a lot you can do with that, right?
Yeah.
When you say like you can get freer or more straight ahead, but do you want to try to sort of see what? So that's an example of like what you're talking about, as if I was a horn player and you were.
Oh, you mean like a casual type of deal?
Well, not so much that it's casual, but that we treat the song what you were talking about, that you can experiment. So then.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, we could and I could just stop playing and you play.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Dad. You wrote a song. I don't know what to do first because you wrote you brought a song called Side Flip. Do you want to do? I mean, I don't. So we can do that, or we can talk a little bit more about your experiences. It's up to you which you want to do first. But
Well, it's good. This song kind of as a general rule, you know, like I said, this melody came out of the ether, and it's sort of, and I think melodies come out of the ether for everybody, whether you're a musician or not. If you choose to be a musician, maybe you'll write it down. But and so, what do you think of this idea? I think in like if you're writing a song, right? You come up with the melody, and if it comes out naturally, and then you harmonize. You don't, as a general rule,
what's
write a bunch
interesting?
of chord changes and then write a melody to it. Although you can.
Yeah.
But
Are you saying that's not as good as the former? Because
well,
that might look. I mean, it really, to me, it depends on the kind of music you want to write. So this piece is a 16-bar piece. We're going to do your piece, then we're going to do this piece that I wrote called the bassy piece, right?
Yeah.
Very different styles.
Yeah.
And yet they're both valid. They're both valid ways of approaching music, and so it'd be interesting to compare. So it's like, I guess in popular songwriting, they would always ask John Cantor and Fred Ebb, who does the lyrics first, who does the melody first. When they're in Chicago, whatever it is that they're doing, whatever it is. I mean, I guess that melody's catchy. I guess that melody came first, right? And all that jazz. But does it really matter? I mean, from the perspective of somebody watching the show, I think if you're really into the show, you're watching the show and you're watching Cheetah Rivera or whatever, you don't really care about did the person write the words, the person write the, so that's kind of the,
Well,
but there is a legitimate issue, and for me it's basically, so let me show you, I'm going to play you a melody that I wrote very recently called Romance. It's all about the melodies. It's the whole, so it's like basically it's, and you could play along because you'll hear it, so it's, when you play something like that, the melody does lead. Or the melody is I would say the melody is, what's the word? It's totally in unity with the harmony. When you say, but that to me is a mark of a certain kind of approach. So I guess it all depends on what your approach is.
So I mean, have you written tunes where you've written? This is kind of interesting, actually, where you've written let's say a chord progression that you really liked. So you weren't thinking the melody at the time, and then you wrote this fantastic chord progression. And
can I be
really?
really?
A melody was born, or
I don't think it's ever worked that way for me. Is that so?
Me neither. But.
So maybe that tells us something. Unless the chord progression becomes the melody. So what I mean is, the melody, because the melody I just did was all half notes, right? It's and this is a little trick, but it's a little slow. That's it's half notes. It isn't like a busy. It isn't, melody that's more quarter notes.
Yeah.
So a lot of it depends on what I would call the rhythm of the melody. You know, whether there's a lot of notes or less notes and all that. That dictates a lot. But if you start with the chord changes, I mean, people write melodies to chord changes all the time, right? I mean, that's our tradition. That's what we do.
Well, actually, in the bebop era,
Right.
they would take chord changes to popular tunes
Right. And
to
write melodies.
skirt the copyright.
Copyright. Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
So that's a great example.
But you notice how those melodies are always good melodies. Like Charlie Parker, so what's interesting about them, they're busy, they're dense, but they're logical.
Yeah.
They're like J.S. Bach. So it's interesting if you think about Scrapple from the Apple, or well, what would be a good one? Any of those, like. That's based on right? It's based on Honeysuckle Rose.
Yeah.
Now, Fats Waller's melody is more accessible for the listener than I mean, those leaps. But I still maintain this is a good melody. Let's slow it. Let's so even though it's yeah. So think about that. If you slow it down. See? That comes out of opera. That's Verdi. That's logical. What I'm saying is that it works. It's not. See, if you really begin to go deep into it, you realize that Charlie Parker's thinking totally melodically. I think anyway. When you think about that.
So Charlie Parker didn't rip off Verdi.
No, I wouldn't put it that. What I'm saying is that. But what's different is in Verdi you don't have these. You don't have figures like, which is a bebop figure, but you have things like it. So, right, which is 19. So, and what I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying, I hope I'm not talking too much, is that things that we think of as being totally unlike each other actually have a deep connection underneath. If you investigate further, you find they're not as disconnected or different as you think they are. I guess that's kind of what I think. And what do you think about that as a...
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying that out loud, but...
Yeah.
So you want to do your song? Because it's Everybody needs an anchor in life. You, me, just everybody. Anchor made this whole show possible. I'm immensely grateful to them. You too can use Anchor to make your own shows and create your own vision. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you. Because of the space, we're going to start off with your... And you want to play this a little bit slowly first, because this is our first time doing it?
Sort of, yeah.
Because I don't know how you want to play it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Because I'm not as familiar with it as you are, as your composition.
It's I'm not all that familiar with it because I just wrote it and played it a few times, and
Well-
there's many different treatments that you could.
Now, tell me about this, because you have this, you go to the flat and sharp direction, right? You have the sharp direction,
A sharp
sharp.
direction.
This is George Russell's terminology. I learned this from George Russell.
Okay.
Sharp. I'm not talking about at New England Conservatory of Music, was he talked about sharp and flat directions as a way to make music more interesting. So if you're in a sharp, so that's sharp, clearly. So flat direction would be if you went like, which is a very standard thing, right? You move to a flat direction. So that's what that means. And right, and so you do that here because you have E flat major, right? Did I read that correctly?
Oh, you mean the B flat,
Yeah.
E flat?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Oh,
If it's, is that my right? Did I read that wrong or?
oh, right. You mean the B?
Yeah. B minor, E dominant, E
And then-
flat major, A
and then
flat,
flat,
major with
and
a
then-
sharp 11. That. I mean, you wrote it.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting.
That it certainly is. And it made me think of my
Analogy.
days a long time ago at George Russell for some reason. Just made me think of that. I want to go. Actually, I wrote a song. This makes me think of oh boy, give me a second here. So I wrote a ballad that's really short in length, like this, like short amount of measures, and it would be really good with that bass. But first, I have to find the damn music. I have a lot of music here. If you can't see, I got all this music. Let's do a blues. Let's just do 24/7. We can start with basic forms like rhythm change. We've got a blues. It's a 24-bar blues.
It's a 24-bar blues.
Yeah, it's called the 24/7 Blues Cycle. It's one of my few political pieces, even though it's instrumental.
And is this F?
It's fast. Yeah, it's basically.
Oh, fast.
So it's basically like this. This kind of. We're going into very contemporary, even though that's an old-fashioned bass.
Do you have a copy? No.
No, but you yeah. I mean, this is my copy.
Oh. Okay. And what's the first chord on the die? I noticed.
It's an F sus. So it's we'll do it once slow,
Yeah.
and you'll definitely hear it, and we'll do it.
So it's basically an F.
It's basically an F blues, but 24. So it's basically double every chain. So it's a. Right, you got. 24/7
Wow.
blues cycle.
24/7 blues.
It's not a, it's, you know, it's, but, you know, it's doing, this is all the contemporary things, you know. If you're in, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah, I was just kind of hearing the changes and trying to go with the changes on it, and it went to far out places.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do you can do a 12-bar blues. You want to do a condensed do see a 12-bar blues would be this. It would be like. displacement of historical time, right? Because of, I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of when what we're playing when it was invented by people, right? Because right now we're playing things that were invented by people in the 1960s and 70s, right? And we're playing on an instrument from the 1400s. It's just interesting. I don't know what, but it works, right?
Yeah.
But why does it work? Interesting, huh?
The bass is going through.
Time is relative.
The
Yeah.
bass is going through culture shock.
Yeah, culture shock. That's what's happening. So I really like this side flip, and I can getting back to it. I can really see it doing it in a lot of different ways.
Gee, I'll write another one.
Do you want to try these 4 measures here? Do you want to try something? Think about this, because you have this here, right? See, it's really pretty. Let's try. Let's do it really slow, rather than swinging.
Okay.
And see what happens with that. Just kind of like, so, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're having fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's really
Hey,
great.
buddy. Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to do, or there's so much to talk about? We almost have to do another session like this in half a year or so
Yeah.
because there's so much to go through. We didn't get to talk to. You didn't get to tell me your Phyllis Diller stories. I mean, who did you? You were Phyllis Diller's bassist.
Oh, it's been a long, long road, you know.
Yeah, I know. But you got anything to say about her? Because you said she was quite a pianist, right?
Oh yeah, that was as you know a few years ago, and she played a piano concerto,
Really?
and she was very very good, and with the same orchestra, I think it was the Brentwood
Oh yeah,
Symphony, and then I played a concert. This was real special with Jack Benny.
Oh
And
wow, the
that was
violin.
really good. Yeah.
Oh, well, that must have been
This
in
is
the
just
70s.
a little, little time and space where it was him, and moved to New York for a minute,
Yeah.
and went around playing around Thousand Islands and stuff with Connie Francis. She's a trip,
She is.
and
Would you say she's a good singer, right, Connie Francis?
she's really surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
What kind of material was she
it's-
doing at that
It's not like Where the Boys Were or Where the
Oh,
Boys Are.
Huh.
She was singing some Italian things that actually sounded. I mean, they were very ethnic sounding and very, very brilliant. But yeah, I've kicked around. I was fortunate enough to play with Chet Baker 6
Chet
months
Baker?
before he died.
Oh my goodness!
You know,
so that would have been
That was
early '90s, right?
Yeah, and he was a real sweetheart. And
That's just so. Chet Baker, and you were doing mostly standards, I would imagine, with him, and he would do.
yeah, Chet and Terry Henry go way back, and so Chet's axe was in a town called Petaluma, which is in that area, and so Chet was in town, and we played for hours. I think it was like a 6.5 hour deal, and he, let's say, was in an altered state of mind,
Chet Baker.
and he looked pretty emaciated.
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
that was a difficult. Was that around the time of the Let's Get Lost movie? That Charlotte Waring did.
That was even after,
I'm sorry, it was
because-
why am I forgetting? I hate it when I forget really great.
It was
photographers'
Let's
names.
Get Lost, though. I mean,
Yeah, but
that
it was known for fashion photography, like beefcake and cheesecake. You know what I'm talking about? Black and white.
Yeah.
Big in the 80s and 90s. What they have to do. Wonderful photographer. But he made inexplicably Bruce Weber.
Oh,
Bruce Weber. Didn't Bruce Weber direct that film? I thought, wow, this Bruce Weber is. You don't associate him as doing a jazz movie. You know, he's more like Vogue and you know what I mean, and that kind of thing, and Madonna. And he does this movie about Chet Baker in black and white. Remember that?
yeah, and that was a while ago.
Yeah.
I mean, way before he came around.
I want to play one more song before you go because this bass, I'm loving playing this. So let's do something for Chet Baker,
Oh, okay.
improvised, and something in like with changes like
Could happen to you, maybe.
was that his favorite song?
Yeah, he really cooked on that.
I mean, was that the one he played the most? But he also did But Not For Me, right?
Yeah,
You can do that one, I can see, you know.
yeah.
But we'll do a little more abstract, like not so serious on robot.
But not for him. Huh?
No, he would like it. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
wound up on Street of Dreams by Victor Young. But it's a similarity, right? I just realized that almost the changes are almost the same.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Victor Young and
You put them in a blender and then
You put 'em in a
come up
blender.
with a new flavor.
I just think that's such a beautiful melody.
Yeah.
And Victor Young, of course, wrote,
Oh, really?
And he wrote Stella by Starlight. He wrote a lot of good music. That Victor
I
Young.
didn't know he did that.
Oh yeah, he wrote a lot of good music. And he comes from the old country, Eastern Jewish ancestry, immigrant, the early part of the 20th century. Really
what is
interesting.
real
Like a lot of cats at that time,
Does he have a real name? Or
No, Victor Young's his name, as far as I know. I mean, I know people change things a lot, but I don't know.
Like Van Heusen, right? He was.
I love Jimmy Van Heusen.
And he got that off a billboard from what I heard.
Oh, with the shirt company, or
Yeah.
That's right,
He
shirts.
looked at
Van
the billboard
Heusen.
and said,
Yeah,
"Man,
with
I
the
want that as a last name."
last name.
You know.
What do you think about all that? I think it's a rat, Bill. I really enjoyed this. This is
Sure.
really something.
It was
I hope
fun.
it does justice to you and your bass.
It was organic.
It was organic. So this is Journey of an Aesthete, and even though I hate saying goodbye, I'm going to have to say goodbye to Bill for now.
Oh yeah. Hey, bye everybody.
Bye, everybody. And we'll do this again. Thank you.